You've totally been there, right? You're filling out a form, you get distracted for a second, and poof, you've been timed out. Or maybe you missed some super important notification because it just vanished. Well, that ticking clock isn't just a minor annoyance. It can be a huge accessibility barrier. In this explainer, we're going to break down the official rules for building a more patient web and why it's so critical for making the internet work for everyone. I mean, seriously, think about that feeling. You're deep into a complex application, and bam, you're logged out for inactivity. Or a little message pops up and disappears before you've even had a chance to read it. That feeling of being rushed by a website's design, it's more than just frustrating. It's a very real barrier that can literally lock people out of a service. So, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the problem itself, this race against time. Then we'll dig into why these time limits are so exclusionary. After that, we'll get into the solution, the timing adjustable rule. We'll cover the 3 main ways to comply with it, talk about when it's okay for time not to stop, and then wrap it all up with what this means for building a better, more patient web. All right, let's dive right in. Section 1, the race against time. Let's pinpoint exactly where these digital ticking clocks are hiding in plain sight. And believe me, they are everywhere once you start looking. You've got your classic security timeouts that log you out after a few minutes. You've got those rotating news headlines on a carousel. And you've definitely seen those little pop-up messages that fade away after a few seconds. They seem like small, harmless design choices, but for a lot of people, they create some pretty significant obstacles. So why is this such a big deal? Why is it more than just a simple pet peeve? Well, because for many people, these timers are a genuine problem of exclusion. Let's talk about the real human cost here. Okay, so for someone with a vision impairment, just navigating a web page takes longer. It's that simple. If you're using a screen reader, you need time to listen and build a mental map of the layout. If you have low vision, you might need an extra moment to find a specific button. An unexpected timeout can just completely derail that whole process. And the exact same thing is true for folks with physical disabilities. Conditions that affect dexterity can make typing a slower process or make those precise mouse movements a real challenge. A short little countdown timer just might not be nearly enough time to react and actually complete what you're trying to do. This also extends to a huge group of people with cognitive or learning disabilities who just plain need more time to read and process information. And we're not just talking about reading disabilities. This could be someone for whom English is a second language, or even a sign language user who's reading text as their second language. Rushing them completely undermines their ability to use a site effectively. So clearly, this is a massive, widespread problem. But here's the good news. There is an official guideline that's specifically designed to solve it. So let's get into the rule itself. It's called Success Criterion 2.2.1, Timing Adjustable. It's part of the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG. And its goal is, well, it's beautifully simple. Give people enough time. That's it. It's a really powerful idea when you think about it, that our technology should adapt to us, not the other way around. So how do you actually put this principle into practice? Well, the guideline doesn't just point out the problem, it gives us 3 clear, really actionable solutions for creating a web that's a whole lot more patient. And here they are. It's this simple. For any time limit on your site, you have to give the user at least one of these 3 options. The power to turn it off completely before it even starts, the ability to adjust how long the timer runs, or the chance to extend it when it's about to run out. Now, if you go with the adjust option, the rule gets pretty specific. You have to let the user set a time limit that is at least 10 times longer than whatever the default is. So if your default timeout is, say, 2 minutes, you need to offer an option for at least 20 minutes. And what about for that extend option? Well, you have to warn the user before the time runs out, and then you have to give them at least 20 seconds to do something simple, like just hitting the spacebar to get more time. That 20-second window is so key because it's been shown to be enough time for pretty much anyone to react. But, and this is super important, these 3 options are not created equal. The guideline makes it really clear that there's a preferred order, a hierarchy. The absolute best experience for the user is just letting them turn the timer off completely. The next best thing is letting them adjust it. Asking someone to extend the timer over and over again, that should always be your last resort. Now, of course, this rule is also really practical. It totally gets that sometimes a ticking clock is unavoidable. It might even be essential to what you're doing. And so it includes a few key exceptions. There are 2 main exceptions you really need to know. The first is the real-time exception. This is for live events, like an online auction, right? Everybody has to bid in the same window. You can't just pause time for one person. Then there's the essential exception. This is when extending the time would literally break the activity itself, like holding on to limited availability concert tickets for 10 minutes while thousands of other people are waiting to buy them. And there's one last, really simple exception. If a time limit is already huge, we're talking more than 20 hours, you don't need to add any controls. At that point, the guideline basically says, yeah, that's enough time for anyone.
Okay, let's bring this all home. After all that, what are the most important things you should take away from this?
First, just remember that simple little timers can be massive barriers that exclude a lot of people. Second, the timing adjustable rule is our roadmap to fixing this problem. Third, the solutions are super straightforward. Let users turn it off, adjust it, or extend it. And finally, and maybe most importantly, this isn't just about checking a box for compliance. It's about thoughtful design and creating a digital world that actually includes all of us. And that's really the question I want to leave you with. When you're designing something, when you're building a digital experience, are you making a friend, a helpful tool that adapts to your users? Or are you just building another ticking clock that adds stress to their lives? The choice and the impact it has is all yours. Thanks for tuning in.